Good morning. Welcome. You know, it's that time. It's time to listen to the music. I'll see you in a second. You are on the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. This is the Coffee Break Show. I'm Vickie Helm. And this is brought to you by the Metadime Digital Network. We go live once a week now for the Coffee Break Show on Wednesdays. Some days we have a guest, some days we don't. Today it's just you and me, and we're having a conversation about something that was really scary that happened to me this week. And I just kind of want to be transparent and tell you about it so that you have an idea that not everything is perfect for everybody at the same time. So it's Wednesday, and today's show is it's really transparent. It's kind of embarrassing and it's kind of new to me. And, you know, I want to share my story so that if it happens to you, it doesn't happen to you again. But this last week, you guys know that I am invested in cryptocurrencies, and you guys know that. And this last week, one of the platforms did an update. And when I updated it on my computer and the update happened, my entire account vanished into thin air. It was just gone. And I was worried that the update was a Trojan horse. So as you can imagine, there was a big hunk of money. I mean, big hunk of money in that particular platform. And because it vanished into thin air, I literally was a bit panicked. I was like, okay, where to go? And of course, because everything isn't dial 1-800, hey, walk me through this. It wasn't a simple solution. It wasn't something that I could just suddenly, log back into, fix it, and voila, or dial somebody and get that answer that I needed. And because it was cryptocurrency, it was obviously there had to be encrypted data and things like that, and those things that were there to find that. And so what ended up happening was that I couldn't find some of the keys that I needed to have in order to do that. So suddenly I was faced with all of it just suddenly being gone and never being able to recover it again. And so the panic that happened inside me, that was like, oh my gosh, this is too much to do, too much to lose, too much to have happen, kept me up all night long working with people to alleviate the problem. And it was literally all night long. I couldn't sleep, obviously, because my mind was focused. And you realize how much panic and fear actually have kind of a hold on that, and kind of a grip on you as you begin to, move through losing it all. And so after I was panicked for a while, I literally had a moment where I was talking to someone else, just a friend of mine, online, trying to relax. And she asked me how I was doing. And the words that came to me was, I'm really awake. I'm really alive right now. I'm really awake and I'm really alive because something is keeping me preoccupied and awake and alive. And not in a good way. It was a fear-based way. It was, literally verging on panic or having a panic attack as I started to work through it or around it. It was literally losing so much that it would just blow you away to tell you. And I want to keep that out of there, but it was a big amount. So suddenly I realized that I had to do something. I had to get to the point where I was doing something to manage my mind. So I'm talking to my friend and I'm like really awake. And then I was asking myself, how can I be present with her, talking to her, instead of just be preoccupied with what's happening? Now, this whole time that I'm in this panic, my partner isn't panicked at all. She already knew that it was going to get fixed. It was going to happen. It was going to do this. She didn't lose not 1 minute, not one iota on any kind of stress at all. She was like, oh, chill, it'll happen. It's okay, blah, blah, blah. And I was gulping just, the acid in my stomach. And I spent hours and hours in this state of mind until the problem was solved. And even when the problem was solved and I knew I was safe, it was still scary. It was so scary for me, mostly because, you work hard for everything and you plan and you stay to the plan and you save and save and save and you sacrifice and you just work hard, and then all of a sudden, poof, it's gone. Well, I've had those issues in the 2008 crash in the stock market, 401k plans at places that I've worked, those things and places and those things that you've done where you suddenly are just out of, touch or out of reach of your money. It's just gone. So what would you do if that happens? Well, you want to diversify, obviously, but mostly I wanted to manage my mind because I didn't want to have to go back and redo something over and over again and have it, hi, this is the third time I've had to recreate my retirement or recreate my income or recreate this. But what happens is if you manage your mind better, which I had an opportunity to do, I got to the point where managing my mind was the only thing that I could do that would matter at that point. It was the only thing that could happen was for me to manage my mind. And as I began managing my mind, that's when things started to shift. So I know everybody's all about some people are all about the law of attraction. Some think it's BS. Okay. That's not the point. The point is whether you call it the law of attraction or whatever, everybody has an attractor field. Everyone does. And in that attractor field, you're going to attract things to you or away from you. And what happened when I started managing my mind is that I started managing my attractor field. And at first I was telling myself, oh my God, I lost it all. And of course, anybody would have been scared if they were telling themselves that. Anybody. So as I started to shift it, and I thought, maybe my partner's right. Maybe it's just going to be all fine. Maybe it's going to be all good. Maybe there's no worry. Maybe just then I'm going to be okay. So then I started accepting what was. The first thing I said to myself is, okay, what if you lost it all? What if you did an update that allowed some hacker who got into your account to suck it all away from you and it was just all gone? What is it that you could do? And so I started thinking of solutions. That's the first thing I did. I was like, okay, first, just accept that it could be all gone. Next, how do you rebuild it? How do you rebuild it fast? How can you redo this? I started thinking about what I could do, not what was happening, not what I was saying was happening. And what ended up happening is that it influenced my attractor field. And then I thought, well, what if I have enough data here that I could have the solution come to me? What if I got enough data for this that I could just back up and recreate it and do it? And I started thinking in what ifs that were one-ups, that were uplifting and empowering. And what started happening was the transformation from my sheer panic, which was, the sheer panic of having lost it all. And I started thinking in, what could I do? How could I rebuild it? What are the answers that I need to have now? And suddenly I had access to the creative part of me, that imaginative part of me. Now, it didn't happen overnight. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, boom, this second, boom, it happened. I had to really dig in deep and ask some really deep questions because I was really panicked. And Robin was all chill. And if Robin wasn't chill, if we both were panicked, then we would have, believed our story, and both our attractor fields would have been, bringing in that same thing. Because one attractor field was so opposing, there's nothing wrong, it's going to be all right, it's there, you'll find it. And my attractor field was, oh my God, what have I done? I've, screwed us up forever, blah, blah, blah. That attractor field, that opposing attractor fields, I had a chance to make a choice. I was either going to make the choice to create the attractor field I needed or wanted, which meant at that beginning, I had to hook my wagon to my partner's state of mind and not mine. If she didn't reflect back to me her state of mind, I wouldn't have been able to see where I was. I would have been lost in it for a little bit. But once I did, once I saw that, I was able to turn that mindset, that feeling around on its head. And that let me say, okay, first accept what is. It's not here and you don't know where it is and you don't know if it's coming back or not. And then number two, if it is lost, how are you going to get it back? How are you going to get back quickly? How are you going to solve the issue? Number three, how is it that you can think or feel that would attract the solution to you right then? And then I just kind of let those questions and those requests go out to the universe. And suddenly the universe sent me over one of my friends who's really good with this particular type of software. And he just came in and went blip, 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 blip. And it all came back up. He rebooted, did it, said, don't touch it for 24 hours. And I was like, okay. And in 24 hours, it had gone through the complete blockchain and popped up everything that was there in the first place. And I realized it's not that attitude is everything. Attitude is your attractor field. Your attitude is your attractor field. So is it to the point where you can get you can shift the outcome of something? Yes. I believe honestly that what we did was shift the outcome of something as it was happening. So I was like, okay, you can shift something right in the moment as it's happening by shifting your attitude. And that attitude, we don't understand how powerful we are. We don't understand the spiritual gifts we have. We understand that we think it's some mystic or cosmic thing that we have inside of us that can allow things to shift or transform or move. And the gift of you, the spiritual gift of being human, there are so many spiritual gifts that we let atrophy, that we don't take advantage of, that we don't see how it can turn the tide or shift the mentality or make the what was absolutely impossible for you possible, just simply by shifting attitude. Now, what is attitude? Well, it's your point of view, right? It's how you're looking, how you're seeing, what you're doing, that point of view, etc. When you have that point of view, when you have that shift inside you, and you realize that your attitude is going to achieve the point of view, and that point of view is going to ignite your attractor field, so that you're going to call in the answers that your point of view is requesting, the answers. So if you're saying your point of view is there's no hope and there's no time and guess what? That's the answers. You're not going to get any. The second your point of view shifts and you start saying to yourself, guess what? I don't think this is going to happen. Well, maybe it could happen. Well, all right, just accept right now that it's not here. Accept that you're feeling panicked. Accept that you're telling yourself something that's unhealthy, and accept that you can do something about it right now. The number one thing that you can do is shift your perspective, shift your point of view, shift your attitude. Because when you shift those things right away, and I don't mean think about, gratitude, be grateful, blah, 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 because when crap happens to you, gratitude isn't what necessarily comes up first. Mine was panic right now. What I had to do was manage my mind first. Manage your mind by accepting what is. This is what's here now. Manage your mind by then asking questions. What if? What can I do? How can I do this? What can get it back? How is it that I'm going to turn this software on so the account shows back up again and isn't stolen? Once you shift your point of view, your attractor field then can send you answers to the questions you have. People, to help you. Those things that you need will show up in the moment. But here's the thing. We are more responsible for the moment than we give ourselves credit for. We are so responsible for the moment as it shows up, because moment to moment, your attractor field is bringing you things, moment to moment at your request. And that's what I found out for myself. That's a lot of self-responsibility to ingest for a minute, that you're responsible for moment to moment. You see, anybody's moment can be different than my moment. Every day, billions of people are having different moments, different levels of presence. It's not everybody has the same moment around the world all at once. It's individual. And the reason it's individual is because your attractor field is speaking to the presence. And that presence is creating the moment to moment with you. It's doing it for you to help you awaken, to help you move through whatever you're moving through. But the key thing is, we feel like the moment is being presented to us. We have the opportunity to see the moment as it unfolds, and we unpack the moment with our own attractor field. We unpack what's going to happen for us moment to moment by our point of view, our attention, what we focus on, and how we're perceiving things. All of those things right there help us keep grounded and learn about what's in that moment, because we've attracted it. And from that epiphany that I had, I realized that I have more influence on what's happening moment to moment than the moment itself. In fact, some part of the driver's seat of what's happening here now in the present moment has everything to do with me and how I'm perceiving it and how I'm interacting with it. And today on the Coffee Break Show, my message to you is, if you lose it all, or if you perceive you've lost it all, if you gain it all, if you have it all, everything about what you imagine the present moment to be is what's going to unfold for you, because that is where you are vibing at. Now, you guys know that, what's that Albert Einstein quote about getting the reality you want? You have to kind of become the frequency or the resonance of whatever that field is, and you can't help but become that. And he said it's not, it's science, it's not spirituality or something. I'm getting the quote really wrong, but in that moment, that's the whole point of the frequency. There can be no other way that you get what you want in this world except that you are vibing and talking to the attractor field, and it's talking to you constantly. It's a constant conversation that is going on. And what shows up moment to moment to moment has a lot to do with you being behind the wheel of how your attention is, how you're perceiving, and what you're doing. All the science is nothing more than refinement of everyday thinking. That's right. This is really interesting. All of science is nothing more than the refinement of everyday thinking. This is something that is so huge. And so when you want to start shifting, you have to be aware, not just of have gratitude, but what you're saying to yourself. What is it that you're saying to yourself in that moment? Because that is the attractor field you're putting there. So when we say I can or we say I can't, that's why Henry Ford says you're right, because that's what's going to show up for you. All right. I want to let you know that I love you all, and it's Wednesday. Next week, we're going to have a Wednesday guest, and that's going to be a fun day. And I will see you all next week. Thanks for being on the Coffee Break Show with me today. I just got to say, it's time to hear the music. See you later.